I think if ASAP Rocky gets acquitted in this case, meaning found not guilty, he needs to thank ASAP Relli for him coming home. Well, for him beating this case. We're going to talk about it. Stay tuned. Guys, please do me a favor. Before we get into this video, please give us a like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, hit the bell notification so you can get updated on my latest content as it drops. All of that will be greatly appreciated by me. Hey, it's my belief that ASAP Rocky didn't have a prop gun, and he needs to thank ASAP Relli. Now, what do I mean by that? Because ASAP Relli, we're going to listen to a little bit of his back and forth with ASAP Rocky's attorney. He didn't represent himself well on the stand. He did not. And that's why I say ASAP Rocky needs to thank ASAP Relli, even though ASAP Relli is the reason why he's in this situation right now. He claims that he was grazed by a bullet, and he claims that he went back to the scene and he found spent shell casings, even though the police, when they were at the scene, they didn't find anything. After ASAP Relli testimony, I have doubt. And if I have doubt, I can't send ASAP Rocky to jail. He's facing up to 20 years. And I have doubt there. Now, do I believe that he had a real gun? Yes, I believe he did have a real gun at the scene. Why would he have a prop gun? And if he did have a prop gun, how come they can't find the prop gun? You know, all they had to do was say, look, I used a prop gun. I shouldn't have done it. More than likely, he probably would have received fines because it's not a real gun. He probably would have got like some misdemeanor charges in the state of LA or something like that. The state of California. I know this happened in the LA area, but I think that's all he would have been facing is maybe some fines, maybe probation or something like that. That's all I think. Really, this could have been avoided if they had talked it out or just fought it out. But it's a possibility that he did have a prop gun, but I don't believe that. But that's not enough. You will say, well, Max, well, he's guilty then. Well, that's not enough for me to put him away just because of what ASAP Relli. None of the people that was on the stand to me were believable. I think they all were lying. ASAP Relli, ASAP 12E, and this other gentleman that was on the stand. I think they all were lying. But let me just let's hear what Lenny Kenny Bodden is saying. Now, Lenny Kenny Bodden, she represented Aaron Hernandez, I believe Casey Anthony. She represented a lot of people. She's also the wife of the world's famous medical examiner, Dr. Bodden. Let's hear what she had to. Let me see something here real quick. Give me a second. Let's hear what she had to say.
Yeah, forget about our tweet and everyone saying, how did you get sourced? Well, we are, we've been around for a while and we were very confident of our sources. And we had double sources for both of our tweets about whether or not the prosecution was asked whether they go forward. But all you have to do, you don't have to be a lawyer, Julie. You don't have to be an ethics counsel. You don't have to be a judge. You don't have to be an advocate. You just have to be a court watcher to say, this is not going well. When your main witness says in a tape that he needs to get a lawyer to get his $30 million, he needs a bag, right? For an extortion bag, basically. And and he calls it, he says, because if I don't have a lawyer, it's something called extortion. I mean, that's not great. When your main witness yesterday in the lead Detective Flores, where Mr. Tacopino, who is his attorney, ended, talked about whether or not the victim, the alleged victim, Relli, Mr. ASAP Relli, in the group that he's with, ASAP Rocky, was at the scene to collect the shells and said at one point he wasn't. At one point he was. At one point they determined that he wasn't. At one point the report is wrong. I mean, it's downhill constantly. And so do you really need our sources to say that it's likely that, I mean, if you've got a brain, you know that anybody who's got ethics would say, say, hey, are you really going to continue this charade, or do you have an ethics duty here? Have you looked to see whether or not this could be suborning perjury? That would be my concern as a counsel, and I'd want to get ethics counsel if I were a prosecutor dealing with this case at this point.
Oh, that's a great point, Linda. That's a really great point. I have a clip here. This is Mr. Efron, a.k.a. ASAP Relli, getting really frustrated during the cross where Joe Tacopina was grilling him like a steak. Take a look.
Yo, you're annoying, bro. Just come on. We didn't even get to the case. What are we doing here?
Are you keeping up? Stop. Are you keeping up with the question?
I can't keep up with him. I can't take him serious.
No.
At one point, Linda, I think one of my favorite moments was when ASAP Relli answers a question, yes, no, I don't know. And Joe Tacopina looks at the jury. Yeah, I know you know the moment. He's like, well, pick one for the jury. Pick an answer here. My gosh.
That's what I'm doing all week.
Yes.
I'm doing all week now. Yeah, answer the question. Yes, no, I don't know. Okay, that's the answer.
Harkening back to him. No, it's unbelievable what we're seeing. And you raise a great point, because this is a great teachable moment, as you know. And you were a prosecutor, Linda. You served as a prosecutor before entering the private sector and doing criminal defense work. You touched on that ethical obligation. Ethically, you have to have the evidence to proceed. And so here they're saying they've brought this case, but it's not too late to withdraw, which essentially was the point of your tweet, right? Raising the question, hey, after you've seen this from your victim, you could still withdraw this case. And if not, the judge might write a judgment of acquittal or a directed verdict, depending on what it is in California. I know you would know. Would you kind of walk down that road and explain that for our viewers?
It could be.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, it's required, if you're going to take appeal of non-constitutional issues, that you make a motion for a directed verdict after the state's case. And you see it in every case, and it's normally denied. I'm not sure that it would be denied, but it's an extreme remedy here. But after the end of the whole case, you can also make a motion for a judgment of acquittal. And even after the jury comes in with their verdict, you can make a motion to set aside the jury's verdict. So the defense has three opportunities here, and the prosecution has three opportunities also. But what I'd like to see, Julie, is I just was on a panel last week with the head judge. We don't call it the Supreme Court here. We call it the Court of Appeals, all right, Judge Rowan Wilson. And we talked about having transparency in the courts. There's a gag order here. All the judge needs to do, and by the way, it was asked for by the DA, but all the judge needs to do is undo the gag order, let the attorneys and the DA's office speak to these allegations, speak to whether or not they've considered withdrawing the case, or whether or not they've been asked to consider to withdraw the case. And then if we had this transparency, all of us would know what's happening in the courtroom. And I think that's the mistake that's being made here in this trial. When you see this witness, who a jury is being asked to rely on to prove the whole case, in my opinion, to come to a verdict and put a man in jail for a very long time.
Excellent point, Linda. Tell me what you think about all of the fighting we're seeing in the courtroom between Deputy DA John Lewin and defense attorney Joe Tacopina. It's getting so bad, the judge said you two don't talk to each other except for when you have to address trial business. There were rules about civility, aren't there, Linda, in the courtroom for lawyers? What do you think of this as you're watching it?
Well, I expected it after watching the Durst trial. I mean, I had John Lewin call me when I was on another network and having a special, because he thought some of the things in the special were wrong, or he thought one of my panels was, shall we say, he didn't like one of my panelists and what he said. So, I mean, John Lewin is not afraid to be an advocate. Now, Joe Tacopina also, he's had the distinction of representing both President Trump and Al Sharpton. He is a very tough attorney, and people hire him because he's tough. But I thought Joe Tacopina, and by the way, I teach with both Joe Tacopina and Ben Chu, who represents Relli on the civil case at Harvard every year. We teach trial advocacy. But I thought Joe Tacopina actually was very restrained in the way he went at Relli. I thought that he built his building blocks. He kept at him to build those blocks. And then and that he showed Mr. Relli, Mr. Efron, I should say, ASAP Relli, great.
All right, so you heard that, right? At this point, I agree with her. I think they should just say, let's just drop this case at this point, because ASAP Relli, he was so horrible on the stand that he created so much doubt that the jury has to come back not guilty, right? But what if they come back guilty? What if we don't know what the jury is going to do? So I think there should be some intervention here. We don't know. The jury could come back and say that he's guilty. Now he's facing up to 20 years in prison. Even though I tell you what, guys, if it comes back that he's guilty, he's still going to get out. They're going to drop this. It'll go to a higher court and they'll throw this case out. So any way you look at it, ASAP Rocky is in the driver's seat, thanks to ASAP Relli. And yeah, like she said, you don't have to be a lawyer in this case. You just have to be a trial watcher to understand that this case is over, folks. What say you? Please give us a like, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Take care. Thanks for watching, guys. But before you go, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also hit the bell notification so you can get updated on my latest content as it drops. If you have any video ideas, feel free to leave a comment below. Take care.